Thank you so much, Michael Vincent. Instead of a morning cup of Joe, we can get a morning cup of reefer rejection rate. Start your morning off right. Speaking of starting our mornings off right, joining us next is Miss Mary O'Connell, host of Check Call, 3PL market expert. Mary, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how's it going today?
It's going great, Mary. How are you? I hope everything is great with you. We're going to talk about training, right, in the brokerage world, in the 3PL world. I grew up in, when I started Roadway Express, it was, here's your radio, there's the dock, there's the freight, there's the trailers, go, right? That's how you got trained. What's changed?
Yeah, that is pretty much everybody's similar story. You name it, everyone has a story very similar to that. Mine was an hour with the managing director, and then excuse me, an hour with the managing director, and then they're like, here's a map of the United States, here's where we do a lot of business with this one specific customer. Have a nice day. And you just go sit at your desk and you're like, okay, well, like, what are we supposed to do? Et cetera, et cetera. And then they're like, oh, well, I guess you can sit with this guy for an hour and, like, call Joe and see what he's got going. So they definitely have different ways of training, but a lot of 3PLs and freight brokers are starting to see the value in creating a more comprehensive training program. So actually today on the show, we talked to Scott Watanabe. He is with Armstrong Transport Group, and they have actually created like a 12-week training program for most new like account managers and brokers. And what they do is they get hired on, they spend a little bit of time in the classroom just kind of learning about the freight world if they're not familiar with it already. And then after that, they go to like real in-person ones. So he even does it as far as like, he'll have someone bring in a cold call and he'll cold call them and they'll do it together so everyone can learn and kind of see how to have something that resembles a successful cold call. I mean, we all know that cold calling someone's not guaranteed every time, but
well, it sounds, Mary, that sounds like a smart thing to do because even they're not always successful. In fact, the majority of them are you crash and burn. They're awful. But just seeing somebody who's professional already knows what they're doing get burned helps with your confidence levels as well, right? Realizing that, if you have a batting average of, somewhere in the interstate, like a 110, you're still okay, right?
Exactly.
Yes,
That's what I was thinking. A lot of these folks, when you just start out, and I guess that's the importance of this training is you're gonna bomb. It's a feature. You're gonna get hung up on. Somebody will yell at you. And so I'm assuming when you have that conversation, it's kind of like teaching these folks, hey, it's okay. It's just part of the learning process.
Exactly. That's basically all it comes back to is Scott even touches on that again. Like that's why when they have this learning process, so like when if you're in the training program, you make a call, someone's listening on the other end, obviously not participating, but just listening so that way they can get the other side and kind of that way they can take it back afterwards and say, okay, well, this is what you should do in the future. And this is kind of how you, work around no thanks, I'm not interested. This is kind of how you work to get that second phone call because you're not going to sell yourself on the first phone call. You just want to get to the second phone call.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get the interest so that you get the second chance. That's exactly right. Keep that door open. It doesn't get slammed in your face. Training and working, it costs money. It takes a lot of effort, right? Because you don't just put the training together, and it's not just that newbie's time that you're being spent. You're spending some fairly decent salaries to plan it out and put it together and buying those resources, et cetera. Why the change from just hiring 100 people and hoping 10 stick, and those 10 are really the go-getters? The others might have been great, but you didn't spend any money doing it, right? Why the change now?
I mean, I think it comes back to I think it just comes back to hiring and employee retention anywhere. Because I mean, look around, even at like grocery stores and restaurants, like they don't have enough staff to go through a dinner service, and so you don't want that to happen to your business when you are trying to move freight. And so basically, I think a lot of 3PLs that aren't focusing on training and are doing the here's your desk, here's a phone, have a nice day. I think that those guys are hurting for a lot of they're struggling to find people and retain people. Like, yeah, they might have a big bonus to sign on, but there's not a lot of incentive for them to stay once they get that bonus, where taking the time to create that training program and doing everything shows that you do have a vested interest in your people's lives and in their careers, and that you are willing to put in the effort with them. And yeah, it might take more time and it might cost more, but by sinking that cost into that training program, you can end up getting higher returns and more revenue and more margin out of everyone that goes through their training program. So it kind of, in a way, is a cost center that ends up turning into like a profit center almost.
That makes sense. It also creates a career path for people in an industry that's very siloed or very narrow on the road up, right? So that helps retain people.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, the whole part of knowing your processes and the whole part of the act of going through and creating all of this training and everything, that will in turn, help you solve some problems later on down the line of like, well, if we know that we train people for this, and then most people after a couple years get kind of burnt out on being a broker, but they still want to stay with the company. Well, then maybe we look at them being a supervisor, or they go to the training team, or they go to be an account manager, or they move into sales, something like that. It kind of, by going through your own processes to develop and start that training program, it naturally kind of creates new potential career paths for people to take once they're done or tired or don't want to be a broker or whatever they're doing anymore.
Final big topic here, and I was curious in your conversations as well as experience, do you also feel that maybe because of the changing technology, the fact that all of these brokerages are making their own TMSs, their own load boards, everything's going digital, do you feel that this is also causing a situation where we can no longer just put you in a seat, we have to teach you how to even speak the company language almost?
I think that is I think that comes with the training things. I think that those who take the time and kind of teach people, this is what we are, this is our brand, this is what we say, this is kind of like how to be successful, are better off than those that just kind of sit you at a desk and go, well, you'll figure it out. Because the ones that sit you at a desk, I mean, you guys have both been on that side. When you call someone and you don't know anything about what you're talking about, the chances of one, getting something accomplished, or two, having them, having them like understand that you are an expert, or like know that what you're talking about. I think that those are like, that's going to hurt your own credibility. So if you kind of take the time to teach someone like, this is how you talk in this industry, this is how we talk, and et cetera, that's going to be better than when you just kind of set someone at a desk and go, okay, you're good. Because I mean, it's all about how much you can get done, right?
Yeah, that'd be an interesting topic about 15, 20 years ago, how
definitely.
we talk in this industry.
Because there's a whole way, it's a whole language.
That wouldn't be PG.
No, it definitely would not. Definitely would not. Lots of HR violations.
Back in the 80s, I think those documents are all blacked out and gone.
Let's put the label on the CD at this point. Like explicit content.
Explicit content for sure. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mary. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Still to come, we will have a new set of headlines. We'll take a look at weather with Kay Lennox again, and we debut our new segment called Research Corner. That and more when FreightWaves Now begins its second hour. Stay tuned.